All right, this is Module 6, Lesson 2. I'm actually not going to start at the beginning of this lesson. I'm going to move to the chart that says Complementary Angles and Supplementary Angles. It's shown on your screen right now, so please turn the page and go to this part of the lesson first. So the last new relationships that we're going to learn are called complementary angles and supplementary angles. Complementary angles, let's give a definition. These are angles, it could be two or more, that add up to 90 degrees. So they form a right angle. And there's some pictures over on the side. We have a 30 and a 60 that adds up to 90. They don't have to be a right angle. They could be separate and still be complementary. We like to say that angle A plus angle B is equal to 90 degrees. So when you write your equation, you would add them up to be 90. Supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180 degrees. They form a straight line. Now, we already learned angles on a line are adding up to 180. Same thing with these. So here's an example, 120 and 60, but they don't have to be connected. They could be two totally separate angles as long as they add up to 180 degrees. All right, so when we write that equation, it's angle A plus angle B is equal to 180. Now, let me give you some tricks on how to remember complementary versus supplementary. So you could do alphabetical. C comes before S, 90 comes before 180. But I have some cooler ways to know this or to remember this. So I want you to draw a C and draw an S. You ready? C, you can turn it into a 90. And S can be turned into 180. So you could remember it like that. Or I'm going to do it one other way. I'm going to draw a C. C is half of the S, right? C is half of supplementary. 90 is half of 180. So you could remember it like that too. I don't care how you remember it, just remember that complementary adds up to 90 and supplementary adds up to 180. All right, let's go to example 1. It says the measure of two supplementary. Stop right there. Supplementary means what? Adds up to 180. I'm just going to put a 180 up there to remind myself that they add up to 180. Now, they're giving us the ratio, and they want us to find the two angles. Now, one thing I'm going to point out is this does not have a picture. Whenever it doesn't have a picture, you are going to write let statements. And what that means, just like we've been doing in the spiral reviews, let statements are going to tell me what expression represents each angle. So I'm going to call it angle 1 and angle 2 because we have two angles that we're talking about. So what expression represents angle 1? Now remember I told you yesterday that when you have a ratio 2 to 3, the first angle will be 2x, the second one will be 3x. So I'm going to write that down. 2x for angle 1, 3x for angle 2. Those again are called let statements, and when you don't have a picture, you should be writing those. Now, those two angles add up to 180. How do I know that? Because they were called supplementary. So let's write our equation. We have two angles that add up, so 2x plus 3x, and they add up to 180. So 2x plus 3x is 5x. We're going to divide both sides by 5. So x is equal to, take your calculator, we're going to do 180 divided by 5. Let me grab mine. So 180 divided by 5 gives us 36. Now, we can't stop there because it says find the measure of the two angles. So I'm going to go down here. Angle 1 was 2x. Well, I know x was 36. So I'm going to multiply 36 times 2, which gives me 72 degrees. So there's one angle. Now let's do the second angle, which was 3x. X is 36, so I'm going to multiply 36 times 3 to give me 108. Now, let's make sure that makes sense. 72 and 108, do they add up to 180? Because they're supplementary, so they should add up to 180. And if you do a mental check, that works. So that would be my two answers. Don't forget to find your angles after you solve your equation. All right, let's go to the next page. I'm going to do one more with you before you try these on your own. So let's read number 2. This time we're talking about complementary angles. Remember, that means they add up to 90. Put that on your paper as soon as you read that. It says the measurement of the larger angle is 3 times that of the smaller. Well, do we know what the smaller is? No, so we call that x. And how do we represent 3 times x? Exactly what we just said, 3x. So no picture means we got to write our let statement. So angle 1 and angle 2. So angle 1 is your smaller angle, which is x. Angle 2 is your larger angle, which is 3x. So they add up to 90 because they're complementary. So let's set up an equation. X plus 3x, the two angles, when you add them together, will be 90. Well, x plus 3x is 4x. Divide both by 4. So 90 divided by 4 gives us 22.5. But don't stop there because it says to find the measure of two angles. So angle 1 is x. Well, we know that's 22.5 degrees. Angle 2 is 3x. So 3 times 22.5 is 67.5. Do a quick mental check. 67.5 and 22.5, does that add up to 90? Sure does. All right, I'm going to have you try the next 2 examples on your own. So hit pause, complete those 2 examples. When you're done, make sure you have the right answers by hitting play. I will be explaining them. All right, no picture means we need let statements. So angle 1 and angle 2. Now let's read the question. It says the measure of the supplement, which means they add up to 180. Write that down. It's 6. More than means add. Twice the measure of the angle. We don't know that angle, but twice that would be 2x. So if the first angle we don't know is x, the second one would be 6 plus 2x. I know that because I just wrote that down here. All right, so those 2 angles add up to 180. So angle 1 is x. Angle 2 is 6 plus 2x. They add up to 180. I'm going to add my like terms. So x and 2x is 3x. I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So 3x is equal to 174. Divide both sides by 3. So 174 divided by 3 gives us 58. But it's asking us to find the 2 angles. So angle 1 is x, which is 58 degrees. Angle 2 is 6 plus 2x. So I'm going to do some math here. I'm going to substitute 58 into x, and then I'm going to follow PEMDAS. So 58 times 2 is 116. When I add 6 to that, I get 122. All right, and that's my answer. Next one, no picture. We're going to write angle 1, angle 2. It says the measure of the complement, 90. 32. More than means plus. 3 times the angle is 3x. So angle 1 was x. Angle 2 is 32 plus 3x. And they're complementary, which means they add up to 90. All right, my equation, x plus 32 plus 3x add up to 90. X plus 3x is 4x. Subtract 32 from both sides. So 4x is equal to 58. So divide both sides by 4, and x is equal to 14.5. All right, it says find the two angles. So angle 1 is x, which is 14.5 degrees. Angle 2 is 32 plus 3x. So I'm going to replace x with 14.5. And then I'm going to do some math. 14.5 times 3 is 43.5. And then I'm going to add 32, which is 75.5. Now I'm just going to do some quick math. Make sure that 75.5 plus 14.5 adds up to 90, and it does. All right, I'm actually going to stop there. We're going to do the next example tomorrow when we go back and do the first half of this lesson. So all we did today was the complementary and supplementary. I'm going to remind you complementary is 90, supplementary is 180. I'm going to also remind you that when you have no picture, make sure you're doing your let statements like this. All right, now make sure to look at the homework board back there because you are not completing all of lesson 2. So make sure you are doing the correct homework tonight. Good luck.